SCAC Championship coming up this weekend, November 2nd at Colorado College in Colorado Springs. So Coach, can you just kind of talk about what the team's pulse has been, just with the training the last couple of weeks, and the outlook you guys have going to Colorado this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, obviously, we're tapering down, and obviously, to lower the mileage, we're increasing the intensity now, just having a little bit more anaerobic workouts as well. Pretty much, the lower the mileage, the more healthier the body's going to get. Both squads are pretty much fully healthy now, we're looking good. It's going to be a very exciting weekend coming up. I'm glad it's cold outside right now because it's going to be cold up there. So these athletes have to adapt to the weather conditions when we get up there. Right now it's 5 to 6 inches of snow up there as well. So it should be interesting. But like I said, the cold and the wind, scientifically, the cells need to get used to this kind of weather. So if it was hot right now, I guarantee, and if they're going to be running in the cold weather like that, it's going to be a little bit difficult for the athletes to run it. So this is perfect weather. Also, high altitude, that's going to be a little bit of concern. Colorado College definitely has a huge advantage over all of us on that. But looking forward to it, So the training's doing pretty well. Everyone's healthy, and everything's going to be looking forward to the meet on Saturday.
And you've had a remarkable season so far. You've won all 6 meets you've ran in. You've set 3 different school records in the process, and you've won SCAC Run of the Week the last 4 times, which is the most by this program since joining the SCAC. You most recently was the Bill Libby, where you won that one. Can you just talk about that performance and just how each race you've tried to improve each week?
Yeah, I think each week has been its own kind of challenge. Each meet has had its own difficulties, even though I haven't seen any runners that I've really been able to compete head-to-head with. But I think that has also just really prepared me in a way, always just keeping it in the context of competition is coming, and just looking forward to the championship races that we're going to get into here. And at this point, it's really just all about trusting the training that we've put in so far.
You talk about trusting the training. For people that may not be familiar with cross country, what does that look like? We've heard y'all talk about putting mileage in, talking about training starting in the summertime, but how does that adjust, especially when you're going to Colorado this week and then next week you're going to be up in Virginia? How does that impact happen when you're training in, for the most part, hot temperatures in Texas most of the year?
Yeah, like Coach said, we're definitely tapering right now with as far as mileage goes, but increasing that intensity of actually the speed that we're doing during those workouts. So my training really started at the very beginning of last summer with just trying to get as much miles under me as I could and get that base for mileage that now is finally paying off. Those miles from the beginning of the summer, I'm still reaping those benefits. And now able to increase that intensity and really get some speed here.
And Coach Anna obviously highlights the team, but the women's side especially has been doing really well. They've won 2 meets already this season. They finished third last year in the SCAC, projected to be a top 3 contender again. As the team as a whole been able to build their training as a pack and make it, what can you say about the team as a whole?
Well, fortunately for us, the women's team's been healthy all year long, for the most part. To training for Emma Kate, especially Emma Kate and Mary Korth are both my mid-distance runners. They're pretty much 8 and 15. So because of that, they're going to have a little bit of training than the rest of the squad, but still they're going to have a little bit more intensity, a little bit more speed workouts, anaerobic workouts compared to the rest of the athletes. But it is paying off, and it's still reflecting well for the cross-country team. So Emma Kate obviously is my number 2. She's been doing phenomenal. She's a very strong girl. And then obviously Mary Korth, I believe she's my number 4. number 4, number 6, I don't remember, but she's doing a phenomenal job as well. So yeah, again, it's more about trying to avoid cement, trying to avoid pavement, trying to run on grass, trying to run on trails, and that's what's going to avoid injury. And so far, our women's team, for the most part, has been fantastic. No injuries, no major injuries whatsoever, and that's why we've been able to excel. Sure, we won all these meets. I mean, that's cool. But cross country isn't about wins and losses. It's about preparing yourself for the season or preparing yourself for conference. It's not like basketball, you have wins and losses, and you can be seeded here and there. During our peak weeks, I'd rather, you're pretty much gonna have higher training, and the volume is really increasing halfway through the season. Maybe our teams might not come in first place because it's pretty much the volume is so high and they're hurting a little bit. But then like towards the end, once we start tapering down, they're like slingshots, and once it gets cooler, they're like slingshots. Conference is what counts. Regular season, that's fine. We're happy. It builds confidence. You're going to win a meet. But then once you get in conference, once you get to USCAAs, once she goes to the NCAA regional championships, that's what counts. That's what's going to help us excel. So.
Yeah, how much do you look at the times like for PRs? I know the Bill Libby, you guys as a collective group had several PRs on both the men's and women's side. Is that a goal as well, regardless of where the team's placed in the standings? Will you use that as a barometer to define the team's success as well?
Oh yeah, because we have PRs because we taper. So it's like pretty much halfway through the season. I believe we were peaking in late September, early October, and then after that, and then after our first 6K, which is sort of like a 5K for you girls, but that was ETBU made a couple of mistakes on their course and stuff like that. But now they know how to run a 6K. They're preparing themselves to run a 6K. Now when we go to conference, they know how to mentally, okay, how am I going to run that first mile? How am I going to run that second mile? That's why it's important to run a few 6Ks during the regular season, so they'll know exactly, muscle memory, how to run every mile properly. And I think that's going to be their success. And yeah, we had a bunch of PRs because we had a game plan, we had a strategy for each single one of these athletes, and it paid off. And I'm going to tell you one thing: next couple of years is going to get very exciting with these kids. We got a young group of females and males, and especially for track, so it's going to be very, very exciting.
A few questions left for Anna. You're a sophomore, but obviously looked at as a leader though on this team. This team, we talked so much about the individual side. What can you talk about though being like the team component and how your teammates have been helpful both to you and then how you've been able to transition as a leader your second year around?
Yeah, I would say that the seniors have been absolutely fantastic in just showing how to bring a team together, whether that's as we're traveling or just during practice. Being leaders at 6 a.m. is really impressive, so just a big shout out to them for really bringing the team together.
And last question, it's going to shift kind of to being a student athlete here at UD. Just got done doing the nominations for the USCA academic team. You have to have a minimum 3.5 GPA. Cross country as a whole had 9 players eligible for the nominations, 5 on the women's side, 4 on the men's, and this includes Anna and Emma Kay. Anna won the last couple years, as has Emma Kay. She won it last year. But Anna, can you kind of talk about just as a group, this team doesn't just get it done on the course, you guys are also doing the hard work also in the classroom.
Yeah, I think that determination and dedication that we show on the course really translates well into the classroom. And yeah, this team is just incredible in that after practice, I see people, going off to take a quick shower and then hit the books or run to mass at 8 a.m. And so just, the dedication that we have here is a really contagious team spirit as well.
Thank you for joining me, Anna Morgan-Bush and head coach Nick Schonberg.
Thank you.
good luck this weekend as you guys go to Colorado College and Colorado Springs for the SCAC Championship, and good luck 2 weeks from now at the USCA Championship.
Thank you. Hashtag Go Crusaders.